All right, where should I start? This here is about to be unrehearsed from the heart. It's been really digging in my soul ever since I trudged through Final Fantasy Rebirth. Shout out to my homies. Y'all were saying that the game was great. It was perfect. I disagree. They already know this. Square, I love you, but we gotta talk about some things. Or I got some stuff to talk about when it comes to y'all over these last, probably last decade and a half. Just so everybody in the comments don't be thinking I'm a hater or something like that. We starting off from a place of love. Square, back before y'all were Square Enix, Square Soft. I appreciate y'all so much for pushing the envelope when it came to those CGI cutscenes back in the day. Most of the time we had to use our imagination because the gameplay was looking extremely different from cutscenes or whatever we seen on the front cover to the games that we were playing. So whenever we see those anime illustrations or those 3D CGI cutscenes back in those early Final Fantasies, or even art that you'll see on like a Saga Frontier back in the day, I was loving all of that. That shit made me think of what the characters would look like if they weren't 5-piece polygons. Thank y'all for showing me a group of characters developing into a family dynamic when we have a bunch of characters from different backgrounds with different abilities coming together to make a team to take on obstacles and end up living some crazy adventurous life together. Thank y'all for making these characters special to us. Characters that I'm probably going to remember for the rest of my life. People like Cloud, Titus. Titus always sounds so much better than Titus. Tifa, Barrett, Blue, Siam, Sora, Riku, Sephiroth. I could really keep on going for like 10 minutes straight naming characters from y'all's games. Y'all are responsible for those feelings that I got when I seen the Avengers in-game back in the day, except y'all have been doing this time and time again with different entries in these game series. Of course, you got the Final Fantasy series, then you got the legendary Kingdom Hearts games, then you got the legendary like random games that y'all would hop into and those could end up becoming their own series back in the day. The Chrono games or the Saga games or even legendary games like Vagrant Story. So a lot of these games, I haven't played all of these games, but a lot of these games have legendary standing in the industry, and you can tell when you go look at the retro prices for some of these games. They got those timeless high ass $90 plus prices whenever you try to get the CIB copies. These games are the definition to epic to me. These games were faster than just running through 10 fights in a Tekken or going through a couple of levels in order to beat an action shooter back in the day. These games were hours long. If you didn't have any memory saving devices, you're probably shit out of luck when it came to beating these games. Except for the Bouncer. The Bouncer stands out as a special case, but I still love that game in its own special way. But over the last decade and a half, I've been hit with some red flags in the few games that I've played that came from y'all. Kingdom Hearts 3 is where my heart starts to burn a little bit. We waited like over a decade from Kingdom Hearts 2. Me personally, I wasn't playing any of the portable games. I went from being a teenager to being a fully grown adult before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. My whole lifestyle really didn't accommodate playing handheld games. Anytime I was outside the door, I was either being the pilot behind the steering wheel or I was too active in adult life. With Kingdom Hearts 3, the first glaring thing that I saw was no Final Fantasy characters. Why that happened, I don't know the politics behind it, but whoever let that go out of the room, whoever let that go before the green light of the game got signed, no. We love these characters from Final Fantasy. Do you know how beautiful it was when we seen Cloud speaking for the first time? Whenever you're in that Hercules world in the first Kingdom Hearts and you see Cloud sitting up there for the first time with his sword wrapped up in bandages, do you know how crazy it was when Squall introduced himself as Leon and somebody said Squall and then he corrected them at the same time to pay homage to his games? When you start running into secret bosses like Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and you fight him as Sora, making Sora an automatic legend whenever you see or speak his name from then on, because he defeated Sephiroth. We waited so long for that game, and then we find out that some of our favorite characters won't be returning. Some of our favorite characters won't be making surprise appearances. Then lastly, with Kingdom Hearts 3, for me personally, the gameplay was so easy that I wasn't playing. All I was doing was just mashing buttons and activating special moves. I did not beat Kingdom Hearts 3 because I gave Kingdom Hearts 3 a fair chance. I kept going through world after world. I'm watching cutscene after cutscene. I'm getting lost in the story because I'm like, did y'all want me to keep up with something from the portable games, the Birth by Sleeps, the 356, 500,000 something days? I'm mashing buttons. I'm beating these bosses. I don't have to worry about any type of defensive maneuvers. Donald, Sora, and Goofy are just smoking everybody. I don't know if they trying to say that Sora was a master Jedi at the time, so he shouldn't have any trouble running through. But whenever games are too easy, it doesn't become fun, to me at least. I remember seeing a preview for Kingdom Hearts 4 years ago. I don't know what that has in store for us, but if we go in the same direction as Kingdom Hearts 3, trying to be too easy and taking away entire franchises full of characters from dedicated fans, I gotta approach it cautiously. I can't be day one purchase like I was with 1, 2, and 3, because 1 and 2, yes. 3, The next game that had me clutching my pearls is a great game. Matter of fact, on paper, it should be the perfect game for me. The epic, long, story-driven narrative of a Final Fantasy game mixed with the character action of Devil May Cry. We're talking about Final Fantasy XVI, where you play with Clive Rossfield. I loved playing through this game. I understand that there were some sacrifices that had to be made in order for that gameplay to come through. Like, we're not playing with multiple casts of characters. The magic on there is pretty weak as far as the elements doing the paper, rock, scissors thing. If you shoot fire at a fire monster, it's going to do the same damage as shooting water at a monster. The thing that kept it from being a perfect playthrough for me is those goddamn side quests that y'all had up in that game, man. I'm sitting up here like, oh my God. The first few side quests, I'm cool. A few places sprinkled here and there. You get to learn the land of the characters. One of the side quests even gets you a chocobo to ride on faster throughout those territories and environments. But when you get toward the end and you get those side quests on that board, or you talk to people and they ask you, and then you see all of those side quests spread across that map. This only happens like toward the end. It's like the rest of the game is like, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. And then when you get to that right there, I'm sitting up here like, why would they do this? It had me nauseous looking at those quests at the end. I'm already strong as hell. I'm already sitting up here learning all the combos. You get the natural new abilities as you beat every boss, and then you pop up with all these side quests. These side quests that are spread out far across the map. They make you obligated to go on another tour through all this other stuff that you've seen before. No new twists. They don't do nothing for the story. In my mind, this is a stigma of the times that we live in, because if you notice back in the past, side quests on RPGs were not listed. They weren't to be checked off. They used to be go inside of a bar, talk to a few characters. Somebody says, hey, I got this problem. You want to help me out with it? It didn't show up in a menu somewhere. It was up to you to go to where they were talking about for that quest to be expounded upon. And it ended up being something interesting. I don't know what goes into the ideas of making side quests. I don't know if it's written by other people or a bunch of separate people, or if it's one cohesive project that multiple people work on together. But the side quests in 16 were not worth it. Now that I think about it, I don't even have an issue with the quantity of the side quests in Final Fantasy 16. It's the quality of the side quests. When you're up in Final Fantasy, you're moving through the world. And back in the day, that's how it used to be. You were moving through a world, you were talking to characters, you were getting involved in these different situations on accident. Side quests usually happen on accident. I did not feel like that on Final Fantasy 16. It was checklist, checklist, checklist. I guess I could say this is my call to developers out there to make these side quests quests feel more seamless than just checklists. And the last game that almost put me in the hospital while playing through it is gonna be Final Fantasy Rebirth, the game that inspired the idea for this video. When I was playing through Final Fantasy Rebirth, like I said, the homies, they loved it. Of course, they love running around with their favorite characters from back in the day. The graphics look better than Final Fantasy Advent Children. Those are the times that we live in right now. These games are beautiful. But Final Fantasy Rebirth is one of the most bloated games I have ever played in my entire existence. Every environment in this game has been turned into a formula. I was talking about the side quests in Final Fantasy XVI. This game here does side quests in a different type of nasty for me. You have so much content to do on the side that I was constantly forgetting the story. I was constantly forgetting what the beats were in the story. Anytime the cutscenes and stuff started happening, I was like, oh yeah, we were supposed to be hunting for this dude, or we were supposed to be sneaking into this place. It felt like a bunch of mini games injected into a game that was supposed to be an epic RPG. Anytime I'm sitting up here like I'm ready to do an epic fight, I'm ready to do some epic cave exploration, then I all of a sudden got stuff like, hey, make sure you go visit these Mughals and do this mini game where you got to throw them into the little territories. Even though I was addicted to Queen's Blood, I liked playing it. Shout out to Queen's Blood. It felt like I was in a casino, but it wasn't about trying to win a jackpot. It was just about trying to make sure you fill up as much of the playtime as possible with Final Fantasy Rebirth. I'm talking about hours of added gameplay of just playing these mundane mini games. I'm sitting up here just mainlining the game, and when I look back at the list of side content that keeps on stacking up, it just kept making me more and more nauseous. The whole idea of this Final Fantasy Remake series concerns me because it feels like filler. Final Fantasy Remake was much more streamlined, much more linear, matter of fact. I'm about to get ready to play through the original Final Fantasy VII. It is a much more genuine and focused experience. Yes, it also had mini games. It wasn't to the point where I'm just overexhausted with just seeing more shit pop up. And the last thing about Rebirth is the story. For those that don't know, the Final Fantasy VII Remake series is an alternate timeline, a redo of the events of Final Fantasy VII. Things did happen, but things are happening differently this time. There are ghosts of the past, all types of crazy shit going on. But one thing that is happening over the course of these last two games in the series is Sephiroth is gonna be there. Back in the old school days, Sephiroth was like a mythical figure. His name was mentioned. It was like Voldemort off of Harry Potter. In these Final Fantasy remakes, he shows up way too much. Oh, I'm gonna fight Sephiroth at the end of this game? And then when I got to Rebirth, oh, we're fighting Sephiroth at the end of this game? Whenever they come out with this last one, me, honestly, I'm leaning towards not buying it. I would rather let my legacy sit with the OG version of the game, because if we're just gonna go through all that stuff again and see events in super HD graphics, I'd rather just see like a review or some cutscenes on the game and then let everybody else beat Sephiroth again in Final Fantasy whatever. But yeah, everybody, that's all the stuff that I wanted to get off of my chest. I hope for better things from Square, because the worst part is my favorite role-playing games, role-playing experiences, games with epic worlds have not been Square games lately. They have been other people stepping into the same realm that Square used to be the king of. Whenever I played through Cyberpunk, when it was working and got updated, it was a beautiful experience. I wanted to cover every inch of that world. It was so interesting. Every turn, every twist, the side characters, all of that. When I played through Death Stranding 2, I wanted to try and unlock as much as I could. I wanted to connect to every piece of that world. Whenever I played through Elden Ring, the sense of wonder, the sense of exploration, and the sense of epicness have yet to be matched by anybody out there. And I just want Square to be in those same thoughts in my head, to be in those same conversations in the room like they were once back in the day. If anybody has thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments down there. I'll catch y'all later. Y'all be safe though, and let's try and keep gaming epic with or without Square.